It's the first Will Smith movie post-Oscar slap. Let's see how Emancipation stacks up with some of his best work. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new film Emancipation starring Will Smith. This is in theaters in select cities right now, but it is streaming for free on Apple TV+. Apple usually does sort of that hybrid thing, puts it in select cities for a week to get some notice there and Oscar eligibility. It has to run in theaters for a week or something in New York and LA at least. So they've done that. Now, what are the Oscar chances of this movie? I think we'll get into that as we get into my review and as well everything else about the movie, the plot, and Will Smith's, sort of performance the first time we've seen him since that famous incident. So before we get into all that, though, I want to welcome you to Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We've got tons of stuff on the channel for you to peruse, and please consider subscribing down below there. Would love to have you aboard. And if you do, think about clicking that notification bell as well to get all the notifications of my videos. So let's talk about this movie. It was definitely a little bit weird. I will admit, the first, 10, 15 minutes to see Will Smith, because I haven't really seen him do interviews or anything. I've sort of avoided the whole thing since the Oscar slap. I watched it live when it happened, and I don't think it necessarily, hinders his performance here, but I have to admit it was on my mind a little bit, at the beginning. Once the movie sort of gets into the character stuff and we get moving with the story and, his face gets more and more sort of grizzled from what's going on. All right, then there's the Will Smith that, we used to know, let's say. And he is, don't forget, the current Best Actor winner. He won for King Richard last year. So, but we'll get into that, I think, as we move along here. But this is a escape slavery movie. You might know that from the title, Emancipation. It takes place in Louisiana in the 1860s, and he plays a real-life slave. I don't know if we really maybe knew this person's name or not, but it's based on a very famous photograph from the Civil War, and they sort of do a recreation of that picture during the film. But at the end of the film, they show the real picture, and they tell a little bit of, the story behind it and how it sort of motivated a lot of people to, really think seriously about, okay, what the hell are we doing here? But Ben Foster plays the man who is trying to, capture him back. Peter is the name of Will Smith's character, if I didn't say it. And he's trying to basically, capture him back and obviously torture him some more and make him work some more and all of this. So obviously, look, a horrible time in our history. But does this film necessarily say anything new about it? I think that's an interesting question. So let's start kind of with the negatives, I guess, because I think there are definitely some. And a lot of it goes back to the storytelling here and the presentation. Will Smith's performance, for the most part, is pretty good. It definitely, could remind a few folks of what a talent, he has in front of the camera. It's unfortunate that I think certainly this year a lot of people are going to be, mentioning the Oscar slap with this movie, which obviously I did as well. But look, the guy can act. That's never, I think, been in question. However, the accent he's putting on, it wasn't my favorite. I get what he was going for, but at the same time, it was a little reminiscent of his similar accent in the movie Concussion. And I think these, that real-life person and this real-life person, I think, are from two different, countries and areas as well. But the accent is a little bit similar, at least in my mind. So that was a little bit of a negative. But for the most part, Will Smith's performance is really, not the issue in this movie. So Anton Fuqua directed this, and obviously he's got, no stranger to the Academy love. He did Training Day, which was a huge smash. But he's done, a lot of movies, obviously, since then, too. And he's usually a pretty good director. A little too maybe on the nose sometimes, which I think we see here. But the thing is, his movies, the genres, he's done a lot of different ones. He did the Magnificent Seven, remake, and obviously Training Day is like a gritty cop drama. But the genres usually don't sort of mix like this. This movie really has a bit of an identity crisis. It can't figure out whether it wants to be a gritty war drama, an Oscar prestige, character picture, or a straight ahead, just kill 'em up action movie. And I'm not sure that the genres blended that well together for this movie. And I should point out the writer too, because obviously it's not just Fuqua's fault, with the presentation, but it was written by William N. Collage, who I'm not familiar with, and in fact he doesn't even have his own Wikipedia page, so I don't know anything else he's done. But the writing here is it's all like fine standard stuff, but the problem is we've seen so many slavery movies just in the last 10 or 12 years, well, no pun intended though, but 12 Years a Slave, Free State of Jones with Matthew McConaughey, which also wasn't great, but it was better than this. Both of those movies and many others just feel more authentic than this felt. Fuqua decided to do it in black and white, which I think he thought, would add sort of to the prestige of it all, and everything. And in my mind, I don't know. There's that picture going around of that little girl, Ruby, who was being sort of hissed at and booed at and maybe things thrown at her when she was trying to enter into, a newly segregated school. And there's been, things saying, well, we need to stop showing this photo in black and white because people think it was so long ago, and it really wasn't. Ruby's still alive with us, it happened in the 60s. Now, this happened, of course, in the 1860s, but I think having that black and white, I don't know, for me, it just sort of was like, are we trying to, intimate that it was that long ago? It was really only a few generations ago that all this happened, this horrible, horrible stuff. And so it's like, is this telling us anything new about how awful slavery was? It really isn't. And so I guess that's why they sort of shift gears and turn Peter into this, John Wick type hero. I know that's all the rage right now, but maybe a slavery drama wasn't the place for it. In my mind, Ben Foster also gives, a pretty good performance. He usually does as well. But again, there's just nothing really new here. So in terms of the Oscar chances for this movie, I just don't see them. I will say maybe, before the whole slap, Will Smith could have gotten a nomination. And I guess he still could, because really there's not a lot of male-driven pictures this year. My buddy Tim and I, Tim is a frequent collaborator on the channel here. We were talking the other day about, other than Brendan Fraser in The Whale and, maybe one of the guys from the Banshees of Inisherin, which is Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell, there's not a whole lot of male-driven pictures. I think Tom Cruise might get a nomination for Best Actor, because I don't think the field is that huge this year. So maybe in a pre-slap year, Smith could have gotten nominated. I think this performance wasn't cream of the crop for me for Will Smith. It's very good, and it kind of holds this erratic movie together, because not a whole lot of other things do, to be completely honest. But is there a cinematography award in the nomination category? I don't think so. Or a screenplay? I don't think so. So I think this is going to be shut out at the Oscars. I know it's probably Apple's big prestige picture for the year, kind of like Tragedy of Macbeth was last year, and I don't believe that got any major nominations, maybe a couple in the arts categories. But in any event, I will leave Emancipation with a C-. A very good performance, not a great performance, very good performance in a very, very middling movie. So, all right, thanks for watching. We'll see everybody next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.